Hello and welcome to BioRules video lessons. Today we are going to be talking about alien species. What's an alien species? If you take a look on the definition on the dictionary, aliens, they are things that belong or are related to another person, to a place or thing. So alien, in our example here, we're going to be talking about things that belong to a different place. Okay, in another definition, it's an exotic, so introduced from another country, so it's not native to the place where they are being found. Okay, and basically species that have evolved somewhere else are going to be considered alien species. I know you are probably now thinking about this kind of alien, but actually this is an alien to our world. If you have this arriving here, yes, it would be an alien species, but even here on planet Earth we have alien species, like the kudzu. Kudzu is a plant that invaded the United States, have no natural enemy, grows a lot and ends up covering the trees and plants over there and creates a havoc in the environment. Now, another example, lionfish, we'll talk about that today. Gray squirrels, we'll talk about that today. And the fire ants, we are also going to be talking about those guys today. So alien species, the species that evolve somewhere else and are invading or trying to invade a place where they didn't evolve in. Okay, so talking about those guys, let's talk straight about the impact they can have. Okay, one very big problem is when you have interspecific competition, so competition between two species or more, being one of them the invader one. So here we have a habitat with 4 bird species. They are all happy living together. They are not competing with each other because they live in different dimensions of the niche. So you have there the blue and the orange living together on top on the trees, but they don't live together in the distance to the river. So these guys, they are not competing. But what happens if we put an animal here, another bird, in this case here, the green bird, that's capable of using the niche of all the other species, and actually they can live anywhere in the distance to the river, anywhere in the distance to the high on the tree. It's very likely that this species might not be able to survive because it's going to be trying to exploit resources that's being used by 4 other species. So there is a big chance that these species don't manage to survive there. But what if it does? If it does, it might be able to survive over there and actually even expand its realized niche, to start out-competing the other species that are living there. So if this species that can use all this wide range of high on the trees and just in the rivers is capable of surviving, it might even end up extinguishing the native species that are there. So this is a massive problem of alien species. They may lead to interspecific competition. So let's talk about a real example. So, competition, excluding similar species. One classic example is the gray squirrel from the United States that is out-competing the red-cute squirrel in the United Kingdom. So on the left we have the gray squirrel. It's quite big, quite vicious, very, 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 very tough. And in the United Kingdom, the gray squirrels have been introduced. They didn't evolve there. And they are out-competing the red squirrels that are nice, cute, beautiful on the right. So in most England nowadays, we don't find the red squirrel anymore because from most habitats, the grey squirrel have managed to out-compete the red squirrel. The red squirrel it's still surviving in some areas, and the British government have programs to hunt grey squirrels to try to give it a chance for the red squirrel to survive there. But on the long run, it's very unlikely that there will be a solution for this. It's very likely that the grey squirrel will extinguish the red squirrel in the United Kingdom. Okay? Another impact that you can have is predation. An alien species may predate disproportionately species in the new environment, and that may create a problem. One example, rats. The hatus in New Zealand, when they have been introduced, they found bird species that are not adapted for rats. They were ground nesters, and the rats ended up eating the youngs or the eggs of the birds and created a havoc in there, led many species to extinction, reduced the population drastically of many other species. So the introduction of rats in New Zealand, where there were never rats over there, led to a very big environmental problem with birds. Okay? Another example of predation, someone thought it was a good idea to introduce the Nile perch, which is a very big fish, into the Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria didn't have big predators. And someone thought, oh, let's put a big fish over here so we can fish big fish in this place instead of these tiny little cute cichlids. The problem is that the Nile perch started predating the cichlids, which are the equivalent of the Darwin finches there in Galapagos we have here in Lake Victoria. Several different parts of this lake have different species that have evolved to its own peculiar characteristics. It's a massive, beautiful example of evolution. And these fish now, these cute little fish, are being extincted by the Nile perch that have been introduced in there. Big problem. Okay. One more example, this one me and a few students from our school have seen, is the lionfish in the Caribbean. Lionfish is originally from the Pacific, from Indonesia and all that place over there, and they have been used for aquariums and probably have been accidentally released in the United States. And from Florida, it started occupying the Caribbean, and now it's even all the way here to the coast of South America. And what's the problem with this fish? In the Caribbean, we have this little cute cleaning fish. Bigger fish, they go there, they open the mouth, and the little fish go there and clean them. It's a mutualistic relationship. In this fish, they have a social contract. Okay, I open my mouth, you will clean it, and I'm not going to be eating. So what happened with the lionfish? The lionfish doesn't obey the contract. They open the mouth, the little ones go there and say, hey, let's eat the mouth of this guy. And the lionfish eats the cleaners. We've hunted this fish because in the Caribbean you are allowed to hunt this fish, even scuba diving with harpoons. We hunted this fish, we opened them, and we saw tiny little cleaning fish in the mouth of this lionfish. And the problem is that the lionfish don't have a natural predator in the Caribbean, because the sharks that are supposed to be eating this fish, they don't, because these fish have this beautiful sails that they have over there are actually venomous spikes. And a predator that tries to eat them will have a very painful experience. So these fish are free reigning in the Caribbean, even in the coast of Brazil. They are already in Noronha, they are already in the northeast of Brazil, so they are occupying everywhere. And I don't know if we are going to be able to take them out or not. Okay? In some cases, to control alien species, we use biological control. Biological control is using biology to control biology. So it's very widely used in agriculture for you to release a predator to kill the prey. For example, in France, in Paris, the government there distributed population ladybugs. Why? Ladybugs, they prey on aphids that eat plants. In Paris, apparently they have a very big problem with aphids that are herbivores, but by distributing ladybugs, they manage to control these aphids. They keep them under a certain controlled population. Okay, so what about if we do that to control an alien species, if we introduce a natural enemy of that species in the place? Okay, that might be a good idea. So in Australia, they introduced rabbits. The problem is that the rabbits are placental mammals that started out competing the tiny little cute marsupial mammals like wallabies. So rabbits, they reproduce like rabbits, and they became a problem. So they became an alien pest. They started eating everything. So they start out competing the native mammals. Okay, you start having an overpopulation of them, and to control them, first they try something else. I'll tell you that in a moment. But now they released a virus that affects rabbits and only rabbits. It's called the myxoma virus. The myxoma virus don't manage to extinguish the rabbit population, but they manage to make some rabbits to become sick, and by getting sick, the population got under control. So Australia managed to control, not solve, but control the problem of rabbits with the myxoma virus. Okay, very good. So it kills many rabbits only, but maintains the population under check. Very good. So seems that things are good. Biological control is the solution, right? Okay, not necessarily. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So for example, fire ants. Fire ants from Brazil have been introduced in the southern United States. So it became a plague on cattle fields. No, they have no natural parasites, no natural fly that attack them, but the other ants in the United States, they do have. And actually the forest flies here in Brazil, they also have these flies. So there in the United States, they don't have this natural enemy. It's an enemy that disrupts the natural foraging of the ants, this fly. So these ants in the United States, they are free to hunt at any time. And because they're free to hunt at any time, they end up out-competing the other ants that have a natural enemy and that cannot hunt at any time. So as a result, we have mounds of fire ants at every meter in the southern United States. And that's a problem because they create, they are called fire ants because they create blisters where they sting, but this is causing trillions of dollars of damage for the agriculture and for cattle raising. So what would be a solution for that? One solution would be to introduce the forage fly, the fly that's the enemy of this species here in Brazil. So yes, we start doing that. Actually, the lab where I was doing my PhD in Unicamp, we started hunting, catching those flies that they attack the heads of the ants. So here we have the fly, and this fly attacks the ants. It's not enough to reduce the population, but they disrupt the ants. The ants get crazy when these tiny little flies are flying around them. So we got these flies and we introduced them in the United States. The problem is that up to today, these flies don't manage to survive the winter in the United States. The ants survive, but the flies don't. So now, the same group that we're doing there in my lab in Unicamp, now they are trying to get flies from the south of Patagonia, that we also have these ants over there that are more adapted to cold climate to try to introduce in the United States. Okay? But sometimes things don't go well as planned. So cane beetles are beetles that eat sugarcane. And with the introduction of sugarcane in Australia, some cane beetles went together and created a very big problem. These are cane beetles and they eat the sugarcane. So someone said, okay, what if we introduce the enemy of the cane beetle? So what is one enemy of cane beetle? The cane toad. The cane toad, this guy over here, eats cane beetle. So they released cane toads in Australia. The problem was that cane toads in Australia didn't have a natural enemy themselves, and they actually prefer to eat other animals that were there in Australia rather than eat cane beetles. And as a result, the cane toad became an alien plague themselves. So the use of biological control has to be very well studied before applied, because otherwise they may become the alien species plague themselves. Okay? So, wrapping it up, alien species, exotic, which do not belong, species that have evolved somewhere else. Okay? When a species arrive at a new place, that the niche is already occupied, so what will happen? The new species, they will compete for the niche. They may die, or they may outcompete the native ones, okay? And they may not have the natural enemies, which may make even easier for them to take the place over there. I hope you have enjoyed. Now have some fun answering a few questions on our questionnaire. See you in the next video.